dollar. Dirt and money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yo, let's get original crew.
Why didn't say nothing?
Nah, because you were finna try to go, and I'm like, pump your brakes. Shut up.
Don't tell me shut up.
Shut up. Y'all see who's quiet. It's your boy DJ Dookie, your girl.
Sierra Nicole.
We're back on the channel with another
Kid and C original. It was shaky because I was like, why are you looking at me after you did that? Because you thought it was good.
I ain't said not a word, bro. Welcome back to the channel, man. Oh, we got couples today, man. We got top 10 most evil couples in history. Who all gonna be on this list?
I have no clue.
Bonnie and Clyde.
You don't know too many couples.
Slim is...
What you about to say?
Queen of Slim? Slim and... The movie. I'm talking about the movie.
Yeah, but they ain't never been...
Fred and Rose West.
We gonna see that.
Bonnie and Clyde.
How far they gonna go back?
Yeah.
How far they gonna go back?
Who the
Or is
couples?
it just gonna... Or is it not going to be like those type? Well, is it in history? Well, I guess that could be anything.
Oh, we gonna learn about some couples today. But Bonnie and Clyde better be on this list. Well, they ain't.
But they weren't evil. Was it? Did they do other stuff?
They just robbed and they killed people because they were robbing and stuff. But
They got into what? No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
With that being said, before we get into it, Miss, they got in the way.
No, I'm just
Make
playing.
sure you check out the links in the description box.
Down below.
You already know where to go, man. If you want to first support, all you gotta do is check out down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's video, pause what you're doing, hit the thumbs up, quit being an asshole. Some of them do. So they just keep watching our videos. Don't like, don't comment, don't do nothing. They just watch. They don't need to subscribe.
Stop being an asshole.
So with that being said, it's top 10 most evil couples in history. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's get it, y'all. Let's check it out and see what it's about, man.
How far would you go to please your significant other? Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 most evil couples in history.
The summer of 1984, federal and local law enforcement are on the hunt for 28-year-old Alton Coleman and his girlfriend, 21-year-old Deborah Brown.
For this list, we're taking a look at romantic duos who had very evil interests in common. These pairings have gone down in history for committing some heinous, usually murderous crimes together.
But I was not with him when he done his bad deeds. I knew nothing about it. And it didn't include me.
Because of that, we're excluding a couple like Adolf Hitler and Eva Braun, because, as evil as Hitler was, his longtime mistress had very little to do with his crimes against humanity.
We have no comment from Hitler about his sweetheart. From others come varying opinions.
Number 10, Fred and Rosemary West.
Mum always disciplined us. She could never just hit us once and forget it.
Even before he became one of England's most reviled serial killers, Fred West had trouble with the law. At 19, he was arrested for fondling a 13-year-old. At 24, he killed a boy with his ice cream truck. And at 27, a woman pregnant with his child disappeared, only to be found dead decades later.
I don't get to give myself up. I've got to tell Rose so she can get somebody out.
West's sadistic tendencies intensified when he met 15-year-old Rose Letts in 1968. Together, the pair killed at least 12 people, including some of their own children. In fact, to ensure their remaining kids behaved, the couple threatened that they might, quote, end up under the patio like Heather.
The description that Fred gave as to Heather's death was horrendous.
After being charged with murder in 1994, Fred killed himself, while Rosemary remains in jail today.
He was saying...
What? We didn't know that part.
I didn't know that part. And yes, I don't remember every detail, but I was like,
we do have a video where we reacted to.
Yeah,
it was the first time we ever found out about Fred and Rose West. So y'all go check that out. I think it should be under the crime playlist. But I didn't know he killed himself. I didn't know she was. I thought it was older than when we reacted to it that one time. I thought it was like longer.
So how old is she?
She was just 15 and 68.
At that time.
She ain't that old. I said that she's 15 years older than my mom. So
she'd be in her 70s.
Early 70s.
I guess.
There was no truth in this, and that he was going to sue the police.
Number 9, Philip and Nancy Garrido.
Nancy starts bringing me meals. There's a TV over there, so I could watch TV as long as it was low.
While walking to the school bus, 11-year-old J.C. Dugard was approached by a car and snatched. Despite many witnesses and a huge community effort to locate her, J.C. remained missing from 1991 to 2009.
Kidnapping 11-year-old J.C. Dugard in 1991 and keeping her in captivity in her Antioch home for nearly 2 decades.
During that time, Philip and Nancy Garrido kept her in their backyard, with Garrido using her to satisfy his sexual addiction.
Essentially, what we're seeing is a Nancy bringing in and cajoling a young girl to perform on video with a hidden camera for Philip Garrido's sexual perverted satisfaction.
Philip had been arrested for kidnap and rape in 1976, and it was while he was in jail for that crime that he met Nancy. Inevitably, during her 18 years in captivity, Dugard gave birth to 2 of Garrido's children. But finally in 2009, Garrido brought Dugard and her 2 girls with him to the parole office, where JC was identified and her nightmare ended.
I was kidnapped by a stranger at age 11, and I want Philip Garrido to know that I no longer have to keep his secret.
Number 8, Roman
That shit was too... I want to say it's a movie about that. I want to say... I remember it was a movie. I want to say it might have been on Lifetime or something like that. But it was about a girl. She was kidnapped and kept in the backyard. And it was like this shed in the backyard. I want to say it was a movie about that. I'm not 100%.
I'm going to look it up. I may have to watch it. That's sad.
Paev and Inessa Tarverdieva. This entry not only encompasses a couple, but their family as well. And, on paper at least, they seemed like a normal middle-class group. He's a dentist and she's a former teacher. But together with 2 of Tarverdieva's daughters, they terrorized Russia for 6 years until 2013, committing numerous robberies and over 30 murders, including many cops.
No more dead cops!
Yeah! Reports vary on whether he or she was the mastermind of the crimes, but what's clear is that they viewed this spree as, quote, going to the office for a day's work. At last, their reign of terror ended in a violent shootout where Podcapaev was killed. What do you suppose was the goal of these crimes? Cold, hard cash. Number 7, Syed Rizwan Farouk and Tashfeen Malik.
We are in pursuit of the suspect vehicle. We've got shots fired out the back window.
Homegrown terrorism is a growing problem, and this case resulted in one of the deadliest mass shootings in California history. Inspired by foreign terrorist organizations like ISIS, on December 2, 2015, Farouk and Malik opened fire on guests at a holiday party at the San Bernardino County Department of Public Health, where Farouk worked, and had planned to detonate bombs as well.
Both suspects dead. Police finding rifles, pistols, and thousands of rounds of ammo in their car.
By the time it was over, the couple was dead, as were 14 civilians, with 22 others injured. According to the FBI, they'd become radicalized in the years leading to the crime by, quote, consuming poison on the internet.
She's probably the most radicalized of the 2 of what we've seen so far, and could easily persuade, a spouse.
And in that time, Farouk and Malik planned and carried out the deadliest terrorist attack on the U.S. since 9/11.
So the message not only for the city, but for this entire region is we understand people are scared, and we understand that there's concern that there may be more folks out there.
Number 6, Alvin and Judith Neely.
Georgia and Alabama authorities, now joined by federal agents, searched across
How did that even slip through the cracks to the point we never even knew nothing about that?
I was gonna ask you.
I don't remember
I was just gonna
that.
wait till it was over, but I was like, do you remember? Because that was what? That's
2015.
2015. So
we was in
what
college.
was I was in, but I still would have heard about it. I feel like you still would have heard about it.
I ain't watching news in college at all. I ain't gonna count. I ain't gonna hold you.
Well, I did, but I don't understand how. That's crazy.
Georgia and Alabama authorities, now joined by federal agents, searched across several states for the Neelys.
Both inclined towards a life of wrongdoing. Alvin and Judith Neely's criminal activities intensified when the husband and wife pair kidnapped 13-year-old Lisa Ann Milliken from a Georgia mall in September 1982.
They were sadistic sociopaths to the core.
They subsequently took her to an Arizona motel to rape and torture her, with the young girl even being injected with Drano before she was ultimately fatally shot. They similarly targeted a young couple not long after, but John Hancock survived and identified his attackers.
She admitted to walking him out into the woods, shooting him in the back, leaving him for dead.
While Alvin was able to avoid the death penalty, Judith was not so lucky. She became the youngest woman in the United States to be sentenced to death. However, that sentence was commuted to life in 1999.
You don't see those crimes around here. That's something that you always hear about somewhere else, and it was just a tragedy.
Number 5, Charles Starkweather and Carol Ann Fugate.
As long as you do as I tell you, it'll be okay.
While most teens were hanging out with friends, 19-year-old Charles Starkweather and 14-year-old Carol Ann Fugate were spree killing their way through Nebraska and Wyoming.
The first killing was a local farmer named Meyer, who had in the past permitted Starkweather to hunt from his property. Starkweather shot him for no reason.
From December 1957 to January 19...
Is he barking?
No, he's just stretching on the couch.
Sorry, y'all. I do apologize.
They shot him for no reason.
From December 1957 to January 1958, Starkweather murdered 11 people, including Fugate's own family, with Fugate as an accomplice to many of these crimes.
That's why she wouldn't let me in that house, because there was something wrong. And now, like I said, I know why.
The pair was finally caught almost by accident when police happened by their stalled car on the roadside. A high-speed chase later, and both were arrested, with Starkweather receiving the death penalty and Fugate becoming the youngest female ever tried for first-degree murder in the U.S., earning herself 17.5 years in the slammer.
Please, God, don't let me lose my mind. That was my prayer. Don't let me lose my mind after what I'd been through.
Their story was so riveting, it inspired various on-screen adaptations, including Badlands, California, and Natural Born Killers. Number 4, Gerald and...
Did you say you hadn't heard of them before?
Mm-mm.
I thought you said you had heard of them before.
What was their names?
They don't have it listed correctly, but...
No, I've never heard of them, but I know that movie.
Yeah. No, I'm saying, I thought when they had came across, you was like, oh, yeah, I heard of that.
Oh.
No, my bad.
Charlene Gallego.
32-year-old Gerald Gallego wakes up his 21-year-old girlfriend, Charlene Williams, and tells her that today is the day to make his fantasies a reality.
Whether you grew up wealthy or were beaten by your mother's various boyfriends, you could still grow up to be a killer.
Gerald's mother was a prostitute, and she was neglectful, cold, domineering.
A good student with loving parents, Charlene went off the rails in her teens, eventually finding the troubled Gerald.
He has already been arrested 23 times for crimes ranging from robbery and sexual assault to escaping from prison.
When the couple lost the spark in their relationship, they decided the cure was sex slaves. So they kidnapped, raped, and murdered a total of 10 people, mostly teenaged girls, in California, Nevada, and Oregon between 1978 and 1980.
The couple would hunt for many of their victims at Sacramento area malls. Charlene testified in court she was the one who lured girls into their van, where Gerald waited with a gun.
Gerald did most of the dirty work, but Charlene Charlene was a more than willing participant. However, she testified against her husband in exchange for a reduced sentence.
This was a means for Charlene to break free of Gerald and his control over her.
She was released in 1997. Gerald died of rectal cancer in 2002 while on death row. Number 3, Ian Brady and Myra Hindley.
My version of events is exactly the same as Ian's.
These two were made for each other. Described as remorseless and sadistic, Ian Brady and Myra Hindley were responsible for some of Britain's most notorious homicides.
She tricked her into going to Saddleworth Moor to look for a lost glove. Ian Brady followed on his motorbike.
In 1963, after becoming obsessed with the idea of a so-called perfect murder, Brady and Hindley committed the first of their 5 confirmed killings, the victims of which were all between the ages of 10 and 17, and most of whom were sexually abused before their deaths.
In an extraordinary court exchange, he claimed his killings were recreational compared to the deaths caused by what he called Tony Blair's war crimes.
Many of their victims' bodies were later unearthed in Saddleworth Moor, hence the nickname the Moors Murders. After being turned into police by Hindley's brother-in-law in October 1965, both were ultimately found guilty and sentenced to life. But it wasn't until 1987 that they formally confessed to the crimes.
The death of Myra Hindley was celebrated in the national press. But Keith Bennett's family worried that the chance of finding his body may have died with her.
Number 2, Raymond Fernandez.
No, the reason why, because we did another. She was in another compilation we did before.
Oh, was she? Now I don't remember them.
And main way I knew who she was is because it's always
that picture.
They always use that same picture every time. And but I remember her, but she was in something else recently we just reacted to. And I want to say it was the Women or Mothers. I can't remember.
And Martha Beck.
You got such a fire, baby. You put it out with this. But I'm not leaving without my money. Got it?
The things you do for love. He was the victim of a head injury that might have impaired his behavior. She was the overweight single mother living in a dream world. Together, they were the Lonely Hearts Killers, using newspaper personal ads to find, rob, and kill lonely women. Before he met Martha Beck in 1947, Raymond Fernandez had already seduced and stolen from several women, with one dying mysteriously.
It's a special day.
Sometimes posing as his sister, Beck joined him in his life of crime, and by 1949, they had killed at least 3 people, including a 2-year-old.
I like it when you watch me work.
After their arrest, they were executed by electric chair on March 8, 1951, and they proclaimed their love for each other until the very end.
He kills for me. That's how much he loves me.
Before we reveal our top pick, here are some honorable, or in this case, dishonorable mentions.
This is a stick up. Yes, sir, it's a stick up. All right.
In Carol, he found someone who was receptive, and because he combined his fantasies of violence with lovemaking, it began to sort of desensitize Carol to the idea of this extreme violence.
Stephen put up a fight.
Johnny, help!
But his hope of help faded when his daughter joined in the killing.
She would stimulate parts of David Burney's anatomy while he was raping the young lady and turning on more.
Number 1.
I was gonna say the last one we just did, I guess the Raymond and Martha.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking in my head, the reason why she became with him, helping him, he had already been committing crimes anyway.
Yeah.
And she was a heavier set woman, probably weak and vulnerable, and because he's used to manipulating women anyway, he manipulated her to help him, thinking that he truly loved her. He didn't love her. It was everything was selfish. She was weak. Yeah. And, you know what I'm saying? Because that type of thing happens a lot.
It does happen.
Women be weak and fall for men, and the man only basically fucking with you is because he know you are weak and vulnerable.
Sometimes the other way
Vice
around
versa,
too. Yeah.
Paul Bernardo and Carla Homolka.
It wasn't long before she also fell under his spell.
Murder is inherently evil, but killing your own sister is on a whole other level. Alongside her husband-to-be, Paul Bernardo, also known as the Scarborough Rapist, Carla Homolka was involved in her sister's death in 1990.
Carla and her family never suspected Paul. They adored him, especially Carla's 15-year-old sister, Tammy, who looked up to him like a big brother.
The sadistic Canadian couple was eventually convicted of raping and murdering 3 teenage girls in the early 90s.
With Carla's knowledge, Paul continued to stalk women throughout the Niagara region.
However, in exchange for her damning testimony, Homolka's sentence was reduced to 12 years for manslaughter thanks to a plea deal, since Bernardo was the supposed mastermind and she was merely his accomplice.
She describes her role as both victimizer and victim.
Of course, video evidence of their crimes later surfaced, proving that Homolka was much more involved than she let on.
Amazing things happen on those tapes. She is dressed like a schoolgirl. At this time, she's a grown woman, right? She's dressed like a schoolgirl. She's speaking in this little schoolgirl voice.
Homolka was released from prison in 2005, but Bernardo remains behind bars to this day.
Carla told police that Paul had murdered Leslie Mahaffey and Kristen French after raping them for several days. She said there were videotapes to prove it.
Do you agree with her?
Because I want to say somebody come in before and was like, she's still there in Canada living her
best life, huh?
Living her best life.
Like nothing's ever happened.
With her family, like nothing. Yeah, like you ain't have something to do with all these people dying, many people were dead and gone and being killed. But you participated in every act of it, but you want to tell on him, so you get less sentence. But not knowing,
did have deeper involvement.
You probably was the main go round. Because a lot of times, bro, like being honest.
Because for you,
women,
for you to take your sister out, sometimes like what reason would he? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always reasoning for things, but I'm like, for you to not even have no type of country.
Sometimes it be the woman, but she don't want to act on it.
Or people don't have respect for it, you know. Sometimes, the girl to be, or the woman to be the mastermind. So nice and innocent.
He took advantage of her. No, she took advantage of him.
Or who knows?
I'm just saying, a lot of times it be like that, though.
But yeah, Bonnie and Clyde was on here.
I thought, but when it first clicked on, it was a black couple. I was like, we got a black couple. Not being happy, but I was like, well, I'm trying to see what they were doing. Right. Then you had the one in Kenosha. I'm like, I'm trying to see what that was.
Yeah. That's crazy. But yeah, these people definitely were, evil.
Yeah, man. With that being said, y'all spam us up. Let us know y'all thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. We got more of these. So more is on the way, man. Y'all just let us know. If y'all come across one and y'all want to see us do it, let us know. We'll most definitely get to it. But as always, y'all know how it go. I do go with the Neely. We are. We are.
Ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack of flip for my folks. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my